Let's be honest, not every neighborhood in Surrey, BC is created equal. Some areas are growing and others might make you seriously regret your move. In this video, I'm revealing the top 5 worst neighborhoods to live in Surrey, BC in 2025 based on crime stats, local feedback, and what's really happening on the ground. Some of these will surprise you, and one might actually turn out to be a great opportunity if you're thinking long term. So if you're planning to buy, sell, invest, or relocate anywhere in Surrey this year, you need to watch this all the way through to make sure you avoid making a major mistake. So let's start at number 5. We've got Whalley, also known as Surrey Central. This is probably the most controversial on the list because it's one of the fastest growing parts of the city. On one hand, you got the SFU campus, brand new condos, and the SkyTrain at your doorstep. On the other, Whalley still has some of the highest crime rates in all of Surrey, especially at night. In fact, property crime in Whalley was more than double the city average for 2024. For emotion-based viewers, I'll say this: Whalley doesn't always feel safe, especially for families or anyone who values a strong community vibe. For fact people, let's look at the numbers. Emergency calls, drug activity, and transient populations are still a major issue. And for the fun crowd, let's just say parts of Whalley feel like a real-life game map. You're dodging construction, crossing paths with sketchy characters, and then suddenly standing in front of multiple 30-story high-rises. It's confusing. Investors are betting big on the future of Whalley, but if you're lifestyle driven, you might want to wait a few years. At number 4, we've got Newton. Newton is one of the biggest and most diverse neighborhoods in Surrey, and it has some strong cultural communities, but also some serious challenges. For years, Newton has ranked among the highest in calls for police service, and in 2024 alone, it saw a noticeable uptick in violent crime and drug-related incidents. Schools are overcrowded, public amenities are hit or miss, and traffic, especially along King George and 72nd, is a daily nightmare. For emotion-based movers, many families say they just don't feel safe here. It doesn't feel clean, welcoming, or a place to put down roots. For the data-driven crew, infrastructure hasn't kept up with population growth, and transit is underdeveloped compared to other hubs like Guildford or South Surrey. And for fun people, unless your idea of fun is sitting on a packed bus and rush hour beside a dollar store plaza, Newton's probably not for you. Coming in at number 3 is Bridgeview, and unless you spent a lot of time in North Surrey, you might not even know this area exists. Bridgeview is located near the Patello Bridge, and it's basically an industrial zone with a small residential pocket that it sits on a floodplain and has very few public services, and is surrounded by commercial properties and transport infrastructure. For families or first-time homebuyers, it feels isolated. You're not close to parks, shopping, or schools, and there's a minimal community feel. A fun fact about this area is it floods often, and floodplain insurance alone makes it an issue for financing and long-term stability. Emotionally, it feels like you're living in the back room of the city, and if you're a fun-based player, unless you're really into train spotting or semi-trucks, Bridgeview's probably not going to thrill you. Now, number 2 might catch people off guard. We're talking about the Fringes of Guildford. Not Guildford Mall or the core area, but the outer edges, especially around 148th and 108th. These zones have seen an increase in drug-related activity, street crime, and poorly maintained rentals. There's a real mix of absentee landlords and deteriorating homes that drag down curb appeal and community pride. Statistically, this area had one of the largest increases in break-and-enter reports last year. For emotion-based folks, it's unsettling to live somewhere where your neighbors change monthly and there's a revolving door of issues. For fact people, this area scores lower in terms of walkability, access to the updated schools, and community investment. And if you're here just for the good vibes, let's just say this part of Guildford is the opposite of Instagrammable. Again, some long-term investors might see opportunity, but for lifestyle, this area needs time. Finally, at number 1 on the list of the worst neighborhoods to live in Surrey, BC in 2025 is the residential zone of Port Kells. Most people know Port Kells is a industrial hub with warehouses and trucking companies, but there's a small residential pocket that's kind of stuck. It's not walkable, it's not well connected, it's literally surrounded by commercial zoning and truck routes. There are very few schools or amenities nearby, and unless you want to drive 50 minutes to do literally anything, it just doesn't offer daily convenience. For families, it lacks parks, schools, and that sense of community you find with other parts of Surrey. For data lovers, property values here have lagged behind because demand is so low, and zoning limitations create headaches for developers. And for fun-based players, let's be real, living in the middle of a logistics park isn't exactly #home goals. Now, with all that being said, I want to be fair because some of these areas like Whalley, Newton, and Guildford are changing, and some more rapidly than others. There are major redevelopment plans in place, new condos, commercial upgrades, and long-term infrastructure investments. So, if you're an investor who understands market cycles, these might become opportunity zones over the next 5 to 10 years. But if you're a family, first-time home buyer, or somebody who just wants to feel good about where they live right now, these areas you want to approach with caution and a good realtor who knows exactly what's happening on the street level. If you're thinking about moving to Surrey, I'd love to help you navigate the good, the bad, and the soon-to-be amazing. I work with buyers, sellers, and investors all across the Fraser Valley, and I can give it to you straight, no fluff or sugarcoating. So if you feel like that might benefit you, you can call or text me anytime at 778-949-5602. Or you can use the link in the description to grab my free Surrey relocation guide or book a private strategy call. And hey, if you got any value from this, hit that like button, subscribe for more videos, and drop a comment. Which of these neighborhoods surprised you the most? Thanks for watching.